What's up, everybody? Today we're going to go over a live mastermind. I have a guest, Side Hustle Pros Chaz. What's going on? Thank you for
What's going on, guys?
To explain a little bit on how to get started on FBA. You know that I focus mainly eBay and now Poshmark, and a lot of people in my group really need some help getting started on FBA. So I thought let's start with introducing you, and then we'll let people know. People will introduce their level of FBA, and then we'll do some tips from you, and then a Q&A.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to it.
So tell us about you.
I am a husband. I'm a father to a crazy 3-year-old, and they are basically like anyone else. They are my why. That's why I do all this. And just before we hit record here, I was sharing a little bit about my background. So I was a massage therapist full-time for about 7 years, part-time for 2 years until I discovered Amazon, eBay, and got into reselling basically on a more full-time level, started our own YouTube channel, and that all took off. And we basically cut all of that extra stuff out. Now we are focusing on the whole community of reselling, providing content for other people, similar to what Mr. Chris here is doing. So that's basically what we do. We primarily do Amazon. We started up on the eBay gig about a year ago. We've been doing Amazon for about almost 2.5 years. So eBay kicked in about a year ago, very part-time. This year specifically, we started to ramp it up. So now we're setting the bigger goals for it and putting in the work. So we're big fans of diversifying income, and we like to be well-rounded in the different things that we do.
I love that. Personally, I love looking at different streams of income. I know people say focus on one, but then again, it's scary only focusing on one. So we're going to start with giving people an introduction to your level of FBA. So let's start with you, Cass.
Yeah, so I started last year in January. I found Weezy. I did books and all, and then I made a couple $1,000s doing that. And then I found actually you, the Side Hustle Pro, for Q4, and I made like a lot of money during that time. And I don't know, I did like around like 75 or 80,000 sale last year, and then this year I'm averaging like 12,000. So I'm gated on Nike, so that was good.
Oh, nice, man. Did you do the auto approval for that?
Yeah, I did auto approval. Yeah.
Oh, congrats, dude. That's a whole different ballgame with the shoes. I love it.
It is. So now, like, I switched from books to shoes now.
Nice.
And I cannot wait for you to list again for the Q4.
Yeah, you killed it last year, man. We in our group, we were toy hunting machines for Q4. You guys all killed it.
That was awesome. Thank you.
So Harina, what's your level of FBA?
I'm negative FBA. I gave myself a goal to start by the end of April, and I I signed up for Chaz's VIP groups. So I'm there. Sorry.
No worries.
You were the one that just signed up like 2 days ago, weren't you? Oh, okay. Very cool. Well, it's nice to officially meet you.
Nice to officially meet you too. Thank you. And I'm excited you guys are coming to LA. Now I'm like, okay, I really got to get my first shipment in by April, so I kind of know what you guys are talking about by the time you get down here. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy.
No worries. All right, sounds good. Tyler, what's your level of FBA?
How's it going? So I started FBA Q4 of 2016, which gave me very unrealistic expectations of it because anything you put on there sold. So Q1 of 2017 was kind of depressing, and I struggled with it a bit. And then summer of 2017, I got engaged in groceries and started developing relationships with wholesalers. And right now, I don't send too much into FBA. I have wholesale accounts that send it into FBA for me, and Amazon preps it, so I don't even touch it. And I'm looking to scale Amazon with private label currently.
Awesome. Corinne, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself. I'll unmute you. What's your experience with FBA?
Okay, so I have no experience with FBA. I have sold on Amazon merch books only. So I'm interested to see so we can expand our income revenue streams as well.
Perfect. Catherine?
Yeah, hi. I started, 2.5 years ago, and I did my own bundles with my own handmade product, and I still got bundles on my shelf because I haven't figured out how to promote it to get them to really go. Some of the stuff went, my color crayon kits really did go, but I've got some on there now. They haven't gone because I need to do promotions. Other than that, I've got what, 460 items in the store. If they're not FBA, they're all FBM. And I'm looking to do FBA because I think it'll start selling a lot better for me. So yeah, get some boxes together and get it moved in.
All right, Bob. Let me unmute you real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've done FBM, but never done FBA. So I've been a little afraid of the storage fees that I hear about. So, but I'm toying with private label. So, I want to up my game.
Sounds good. Lori?
I have no experience. I mean, I opened up an account, but that's it.
Okay.
But I want to get there. That's why I'm here.
Sounds good.
That's my goal.
Let's see. Keela, do you want to introduce? Did you have any experience with FBA?
No, I did a little FBA kind of resell in my college kind of textbooks and some books for my friends, but I'm pretty much on par with the group with really wanting to jump in there and learn about it and get going.
Sounds great. And Karen, if you want to.
Sure, I have zero experience, but I've been planning on it. I'm looking at doing some clothing on there. I've been talking to some manufacturers and some nutraceuticals, talking to manufacturers. I don't know I guess private label is probably not the best way to start, but that's what I know more than. I do have a box I've started, but I need to learn everything. I have tons of questions, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Ron is actually out on the hustle. He has 100 retail store goal this week, Chills. So I don't know if he wants to hop on and tell us. Ron, are you there? He's out in the field working. So, and then last one, Michael. Michael, do you have any FBA experience? You can hop on if you want to unmute yourself.
No, I'd like to start with the books though, but I have no experience on FBA.
Okay, great. Let's get into it. So Chaz, give us some ideas on what people can do. Looks like a lot of beginners in this call. Oh, actually, before we start, for me, I'm sending in 50 items a week is my goal. So right now.
Nice, nice. How long have you been sending in FBA?
2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, this is like the perfect group to work with because you guys understand how FBA works, correct? You take your items instead of you listing them. This is the biggest difference between Amazon, FBA, versus Merchant Field or eBay is eBay and Merchant Field, you store it yourself, customer buys it, you ship it to the customer. FBA, if you don't know, you take all of your items, put them in a box, send it to Amazon, they do the rest. That's why most of us love FBA. Oh, excuse me. That's why most of us love FBA. And the bonus is because there are so many more Prime customers that want to use that free 2-day shipping that they pay for each year. Most of the time, of course, there's a few exceptions, but most of the time, you're going to find that even if you're priced higher, I know sometimes I'm talking like 20, 25, 30% higher, customers on Prime are still going to order the FBA item over the Merchant Field. Makes no sense. The number one rule I tell most of our employees, my wife, when she quit her job and started doing this with me, my number one rule in this business, never ask why. I don't know why people pay the prices they pay. I don't know why they buy what they buy, especially in the eBay world. You guys have probably asked yourselves that same thing a few times. Why would somebody buy this? But they do. So that's kind of the premise of FBA, why most of us love to do it. You can price things a little bit higher. They move a little bit quicker, and it's a lot more hands off. So yes, you do have a little bit more in fees, and somebody mentioned that, but fees are the number one fear. I should say number two fear. Number one fear of Amazon is getting suspended. They are very strict on their rules, guys. Very, very strict. So do not try to cut corners. Don't try to take the shortcuts. Like, don't play gray hat tactics. Just follow the rules and you'll be fine. So that's the number one fear. Number two is the fees. They are higher in fees. You have monthly storage fees. You've got long-term storage fees, all these different things that play a role in that. But if you're sourcing products that sell quick, you're never going to run into that issue. I don't even know what the fees run right now because they change, they increase usually once, maybe sometimes twice a year. But overall, if you're just selling fast moving items and you're not holding on to stuff for months on end, don't even worry about the fees. You'll do fine. And because you're able to sell stuff at a higher price point, it handles the fees in itself. So that's kind of the premise of it. Now there's 4 different categories when it comes to selling on Amazon. Some things are going to overlap a little bit with the eBay world, so you guys will get this. Number 1 is retail and online arbitrage. I'll just put this out there, and this is a very controversial thing, but because Amazon is getting very, very strict on their rules, and Amazon wants you to get into wholesale or private label. That's just the flags are up. Amazon has not directly said you cannot do retail and online arbitrage. They still accept receipts. They're not technically invoices, but they do accept receipts if you ever get hit with an IP claim, all this different stuff. But where we sit right now, I do not recommend thrifting. And this is the biggest thing with people that come from eBay to Amazon is you're coming from a thrift store mindset of I can buy something for $1 and sell it for 50. Huge ROI, right? But in Amazon world, you have no paper trail that proves authenticity. That is the biggest thing in Amazon's world is they need a paper trail that proves authenticity. So, and this comes from somebody, when I started 2 years ago, it was a different ballgame, right? It was a wild, wild west. It was almost like eBay, like the policies they were very lenient on. I was selling used cameras all day long. That was like my main product I was selling on Amazon. Thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, all that stuff was getting put onto Amazon because I didn't like eBay at the time. So when we finally got into eBay, all my used stuff goes over there. Anything with a paper trail that proves authenticity goes onto Amazon. So that, again, when I say follow Amazon's rules, this is where a lot of people can say, well, Chaz, but I sold tons of cameras this week. You can, but if for some reason, and the chances are small, but if for some reason a customer complains about something, Amazon comes after you and says, hey, we need you to prove that this product is authentic, and you have no paper trail, you're kind of screwed. And in Amazon's world, that's a very quick suspension. So that's like my one red flag I would put up there, especially coming from an eBay world to an Amazon world, if you're new. But again, just follow their rules, guys. It's a lot of it seems more scary than it actually is. Amazon is extremely scalable and extremely profitable if you play it the right way. So just get in there, follow the rules. So the 4 different categories, right? So you have retail and online arbitrage. That's number 1 and 2. Retail arbitrage, most of you guys, some of you probably do this for eBay. So retail arbitrage, you're going into retail stores, Walmart, Target, Kohl's, etc., and you're buying products. Usually the receipt will have a UPC on it, and that is perfect because that's proof that it's authentic and it's sourced from an actual authorized distributor, not distributor, but retailer. So with that being said, the benefit of it is you can go out today and go get product and ship out an Amazon shipment tonight. That's the number 1 benefit and why a lot of us, I do primarily retail and online arbitrage, by the way. We're just now switching over to wholesale this month. So I haven't done retail or online arbitrage in about 3 weeks, but we're switching over to wholesale, and I'll cover that in a minute. But with retail arbitrage, the biggest benefit is you can go out today, get product, and send out your first, maybe your second, third, fourth Amazon shipment today. If you're hitting clearance items, here's my biggest thing, guys. If you're hitting clearance items and you scan something, and if you don't know, you can download the Amazon Sellers app for free, and that's what most of us use to scan our products with. And that learning how to use that is just practice. It's like checking eBay comps, right? You just got to practice with it to get better with it. So with clearance items, here's the number 1 thing. Everyone worries about price tanking on Amazon, and it is a thing. Totally true and totally real. But with price tanking, you have to understand that if you find a clearance item and it's, let's say, $5, you scan it, it sells for $15. After fees and shipping, you get $10 back. Deduct your $5 cost, and you get a $5 profit, right? You're like, wow, I doubled my money. Great. It's got a solid rank within toys, and it's going to sell fast. You send it to Amazon. Let's say your shipment takes 5 days, and all of a sudden you check the listing again. You go, well, what the crap? Everyone's selling it for $7 now. That's called price tanking, because you're not the only one in the US that found that product. Chances are, if one retailer is clearancing something out, it's being clearanced out throughout all of the retailers. So here's my rule of thumb with that. If you're going to buy clearance items that other people are going to hop on the listing with, you need to be first in or last out. And that means you price your stuff at a lower ROI, but it's going to flip the second it gets in there. So you're first in, and then you're first out, that is going to get you a lower ROI, and that's different for each of you. Have a different ROI that you're comfortable with. I personally, if it's a fast flip, I'll go as low as 30%. And if I'm doing volume work, then that makes up for the lower ROI. Or you have to play part 2, which is be last out, which means you have to wait until all the low ballers sell out, and for that price to recover and for you to get the best bang for your buck. So you might get 100% ROI and double your money like you thought. Sometimes that takes weeks, sometimes it takes months, and that there's no true way to determine that. The only way you can really kind of keep an eye on that listing is if you, and I'm going to throw out a couple tools, by the way. Some are free, some are paid, depending whatever you want to get into. So if you have a little notepad to just jot a few things down, the Chrome extension, it's called How Many. How Many. It'll have a little number sign on it when you install it. That's completely free to use. Let me correct that. They allow you to use it, I believe, 5 times per day for free, and then you can pay for whatever their upgrade it is. I just have the free one. But what you can do is go onto the listing of an item and go onto the page where it shows all the different sellers. Click the how many, and it will pop up with a number under each name, and it will show you how many they have in stock. So it will show you, so if you have a price tanking issue and a product comes down, let's say from $15 to $7, and you start to freak out, and this is why most people price tank, because they freak out that they're going to lose their money, and so they all bottom the price. But if you run how many and you see like, oh, well, all these low ballers only have 1, 2, or maybe 3 units in stock, they're going to sell out pretty quick, and then I'll be able to recoup my price. So that's a really, really beneficial thing to do, is to keep an eye out on how many, and you can run it each day. So you can kind of ballpark based on how many people are selling out, how many it's selling per day. So that's a little tip that I can give you for that. So that's kind of the retail clearance. That's my take on it, because retail and online arbitrage is kind of like the intro. That's the first step in Amazon. And I recommend people start there for a couple different reasons. One, you are going to be able to understand how Amazon works. You can jump, I know people that jump straight into wholesale or straight into private label. It can be done, it's doable. But if you don't understand how Amazon's system works, because it's completely different animal than eBay. If you don't understand how the system works, you're gonna have a big learning curve going straight to private label or to wholesale, unless you have coaching or a program or something that's helping you along the way. So with that, I definitely recommend the RAOA just to start. Even if you do it for a month, send in your first couple shipments, watch things sell, learn how to reprice, learn how to read. Part 2 of this is I'm going to talk about Keepa is a common thing. So learn how Amazon system works. That's like the most crucial number 1 tip I can give you, is just learn how the system works. So online arbitrage, let me back up real quick. Let me wrap up with RA. So RA, lots of pros, but here's the con. And most of you in eBay world understand this, because a lot of you thrift, right? So when you do RA, you spend more time on the road than you typically do in the stores. And that is the biggest pain in the butt when it comes to anything retail arbitrage, thrift stores, all that stuff. It's a lot of drive time. So if you have the time to commit to it, to do RA, come up with a schedule for yourself, guys. That was the number 1 thing I did that changed our business. When I stopped going out when I quote unquote had time, I actually started to see results because it was in my schedule. I hit a point in my business where if I treated it like a hobby, it was only going to pay like a hobby. If I started treating it like a business, it actually started to pay like a business. But that means you've got to follow some type of schedule for yourself. And I get some of you have families, you have crazy lives, but if you want your business to grow and scale, you have to follow something, some type of structure with your business. So whether that's every Monday I'm going to hit Walmart, every Tuesday I'm going to hit Target, come up with some type of schedule for yourself. And then the other big one too with scheduling is I knew that by Friday night, every Friday night, I had to ship something out to Amazon. I don't care if it was 20 items or 200 items. Whatever I had in stock, it got shipped out to Amazon every single week. And then as we scale and grow, then I added on Tuesdays. So Tuesdays and Fridays were going to be Amazon shipping days as you start to get more product. Do we have questions so far? I know it's a lot of, I'm giving you guys everything I got. So you could watch this recording over and over and over, because there's going to be a lot of info in here.
I think we're good. And if you guys want, you can also raise your hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Perfect. So that's like the RA world, right? So lots of pros, but the con is going to be very time consuming, probably the most time consuming out of all of them. And again, we're talking about the 4 main categories within Amazon. Number 2 is online arbitrage. Huge benefit. You don't have to drive. You simply go to target.com and click and order your stuff if they have it in stock. Again, same rule applies. If you go and you see that big red number that's clearancing out and you're like, oh my gosh, this is such a good deal. You've got a couple hundred, if not a couple thousand other people looking at that exact same deal. Now, we all have different parameters within our buying. So just because 1,000 people see a clearance product doesn't mean 1,000 people buy it, right? You might get a couple hundred. Out of that couple hundred, you might get 50 that know what they're doing. So again, anything you buy clearance, be first in or last out, because you will lose. I can promise you, you will lose if you try to play that middle ground. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to sit on your product, and it's just not a fun game. So first in or last out is my number one recommendation for RA and OA. Now, once you get that, I consider that like your foundation building, right? One quick thing with RA and OA, because there's another thing that people run into as new accounts, you're going to see a lot of brand restrictions, right? How many people have had that fear? So when you start an account with Amazon now, again, this is different than it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, there was nothing restricted. You can sign up today and go sell Nike. That's how open playing field this thing was. Obviously, brands got a lot more strict over, it was July 2016 that they put the lockdown. I freaked out. I was selling a lot of Nike early on. Every Friday. I'm up in Portland, Oregon, so I got access to like 4 different outlets within an hour. So I'm pretty blessed up here. So I was selling a lot of Nike. Every Friday was my route. In July, I got a text message from one of my group members that said, hey, Nike just went restricted. I almost lost it because that's almost all I was selling back then. Luckily, I got grandfathered in, so that's why I'm able to still do it. So if you're running into that issue, you're going to see it with toys a lot and electronics. Here's the thing with toys. I'm still working on finding an electronics way to do this, but here's another thing to write down. Entertainmentearth.com. Entertainmentearth.com. This is a distributor that focuses on toys. We're talking Disney, Marvel, Funko, like nearly any toy brand you can think of, these guys carry. Here's the kicker. You're going to order stuff from these guys. If you scan something and it pops up with restricted, if you go into your actual seller central on your computer, you can do it from your phone too, and it pops up with, try to add that product. It will say listing limitations apply. Click on that and apply. Two things happen. One, you either get auto approved. So that's the first thing, is just try, because you might get auto approved. Even with new accounts, we're seeing people get auto approved and just random stuff. And then number 2 is it will pop up and say, we need one of 2 things. You need a letter authorizing you as a reseller from the brand, right? Good luck with that if you're talking like Paw Patrol or Nike or anything big. Number 2 is you need an invoice from a wholesaler or distributor, manufacturer, whatever you want to call it, that shows at least 10 units ordered, and then you submit that invoice, and that's how you get ungated. So when you're using Entertainment Earth, this is a big popular toy distributor. Here's the part that nobody gets when I say it. They don't have anything profitable. Unless you're doing pre-orders like months ahead of time, there's stuff in there you can make money on, don't get me wrong, but you have to know your game within the toy industry, and you have to pre-order stuff ahead of time. You're not going to order from these guys to make a profit. You're going to order cheap items with that brand. So in our group that we have, we help people do this. So we tell them, if you want to get ungated in Disney, for example, or Star Wars, that's probably one of the most popular ones is Star Wars. Go to entertainmentearth.com, find something cheap that is Star Wars, order 10 units of it, right? And if you want to go even deeper, order 10 units of a Star Wars. I actually even recommend ordering like 12 to 15 just to be on the safe side. Order 12 units of a Star Wars, 12 units of a Disney, 12 units of a Paw Patrol, whatever you want to get ungated in, just to break even on those products. You're not looking to make a profit here, because it's kind of tough to find it, because it's a very popular distributor that's oversaturated. So if you go and order from these guys, order the units that you need for whatever brand you want. they're going to send you an invoice. That invoice, what you're going to do is make sure it has their information, their website, their address, their phone number, all that kind of stuff. It has all of your business information, and go an extra step and write on the paper, you're going to write down what ASIN, and that's the product code within Amazon terms. So every product has an ASIN that goes straight to that listing. So write down what ASIN those products are. Take a picture, and I don't know why Amazon does this, but Amazon for some reason does not like electronic stuff. I don't know why. So if you just directly email over your invoice, it's hit or miss. You might get approved, you might get declined. But here's what we do. Take out your phone, take a picture of it, like print it out, take a picture of the printout, and then send that over to Amazon as your proof. And that invoice will get you ungated in nearly any toy brand. And if you can find a distributor for Sony and all the electronics brands, you can do the exact same method. So that kind of helps you get over that big hurdle that a lot of people have trouble with RA. Yeah, Kareen. Looks like you're muted, my friend.
There we go. How about that?
There you are.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
My daughter's our first grandchild, so I didn't want the screaming in the background. Anyways, so do you need 10 units of the same ASIN, or can they be 10 different ASINs? 10
I would
units.
definitely recommend 10 of the same.
Okay, thanks, Jazz.
Because Amazon wants you to order quantity is what they want. They like eBay is known, like a lot of eBay people, because with eBay we love thrift stores and garage sales, that type of stuff. So it's a lot of one-offs. It's unless you have a wholesaler, you're typically not getting quantity with eBay. Amazon's different. They want quantity is what they want. So they want to see that you're ordering from actual distributors and manufacturers. It all comes down to that paper trail. They just want to make sure the customers are getting quality product.
So I have a quick question, Chaz. So the thing that gets me most excited about Amazon is I know a lot of people who have sold an Amazon business, but I don't know very many people who've sold an eBay business really. What they're selling when they sell an eBay business is just their contact with the supplier really. So I've heard the most difficult part of selling an Amazon business is unclean books. So I want to make it as clean as possible as I do this. So do you have any recommendations on, like, should I have the company that I want to do private label on completely separate with no products that I send in separately? Or do you just build up your personal account and turn that into the big account that you sell one day? What do you think?
Yeah, you can do it either way. I've seen it done both ways. And what Chris is talking about is if you, for example, we run primarily we run an RA and OA business. Now that we're getting into wholesale, I'm going to do just that. You have to get permission from Amazon to do this, by the way. You actually need a different address. You need a different entity is what they want. So luckily we have an office space, so we can use our office space and our new LLC as a different account. But we're going to open up a second account, just like you do with eBay, just for wholesale. And then if it came down to the road, we can sell that LLC, which includes the business. So it includes the suppliers and all that good stuff. And then people do the same thing with PL. I know people that have 4 or 5 Amazon accounts because they want to separate that stuff out as much as they can. Now, if it's all under the same LLC, then that's where you're going to have a little bit of issue. So you just have to make sure you have, again, clean books is absolutely number one. And the most common way people keep track, this is how we do it, is with eBay. eBay does not, if you're familiar with API, that's basically the access, right? The unlocking the door to not software. It's unlocking for software companies to tap into something. eBay does not give people access to their API. So that means that there's not programs or anything out there that can go in there and sync up with your inventory so you can easily keep track of stuff with the software. Amazon, on the other hand, is very API friendly. So there's a lot of softwares, and the most popular is Inventory Lab. Inventory Lab will keep track as you do your shipments. You put in your buy cost, and it will track everything. 100% of your accounting will be tracked. It will show you your ROI, your profit, your net, your loss at the end of the year. Will show you all that stuff. So Inventory Lab is my number one recommended for that tool. There's currently a few new ones being built out. I'm not going to promote those or talk about those just until I use it myself. That's just how I run my own gig. I never refer people to stuff I don't personally use. But for now, Inventory Lab does the trick. We've used it for 2 full years. And I just have a printout at the end of the year. I give my CPA and he handles all of it. But yeah, so you do need separate LLCs for different accounts. So if you're going to be doing a private label account, I definitely recommend you separate that out. And then there's some people that they just don't care and they have all of it under one account and they sell the whole business off just that way too. So it depends on what you want to do with it down the road.
Awesome.
Perfect. So we have questions so far on like RA, OA. All right. Anyone overwhelmed? You're like, this is a lot of information.
Beginner recommendations? So like toys or just anything, any kind of beginner recommendation? Or,
yeah, for categories. No, it's an awesome question. So for categories, so you're going to have a few categories that are going to be gated. So you need an invoice again. Grocery is probably the number one. Grocery, you need to find a grocery distributor. And it's a lot easier than people make it out to be. Everyone, I don't know why people freak out about getting ungated in grocery in different categories like that. It's the exact same method I just showed you. You can't go to Entertainment Earth and order grocery items though. So here's 2 ways to do it. One, go to a local grocery distributor and just go to Google, literally go to Google and type in whatever your city is. So for me, I type in Portland, Oregon grocery distributors. And I would either order online or go to the grocery place and I would order, again, 12 to 15 units of a few different ASINs and then use that invoice to submit. And that's how you get ungated. But if you want to start out on the intro, almost all the categories are going to be open for Amazon. So you're going to have toys, you're going to have video games, you're going to have books, you're going to have electronics. All these categories are great. Easier ones to start with are going to be books. Books are low cost. Books are stupid high ROI. You literally can buy these for under $5 and flip them for $100+, especially if you're dealing with textbook season. So books are an amazing category to start with. Books is treated a little bit differently just because you've got to be super picky on your conditions. Some people are very picky as far as a customer standpoint. Some people are super picky on their conditions. So do not list a book used like new if it's dinged up on the corners, right? That goes used very good or used acceptable. And these are all terms that you'll learn once you get into Amazon system. So books are amazing. They're a very, very large category. I think they're 70 million deep or something like that. So the rank, and we'll talk about rank next, rank is determined by how fast something sells. Because it's such a large category, you can go really high in your rank. So rank, for example, in toys, anything that's considered fast selling in toys would be under 50,000 in rank. So if a toy is ranked 50,000 in the whole category, it's a pretty fast seller. But books, 1 million is still considered a good mover. So that's how large the book category is. So choose a category like books, go in, learn it, get really, really good at it, if not master it, and then go into a different category. I think a common mistake that I made in the beginning was I had shiny object syndrome because I saw, oh my gosh, these guys are doing shoes. I should do shoes. Oh, books are really good too. I'll try books. And I was like dabbling into each thing, but a jack of all trades is a master of nothing, right? And so I'm like, well, why is my business not growing? I don't get it. It's because I was kind of doing a bunch of things at one time and spreading myself too thin. But once I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go in. I'm just going to do Nike. I learned the shoe game. And then I was able to build that up and scale it to the point where I knew how to source shoes. I knew how to sell shoes. So then I got into, well, I know toys are really popular during Q4. Let's do toys. And we killed it in toys last year. So now I know the toy game. I know how clearance works. This is why I tell you guys first in or last out, because I learned the hard way. I've got $3,000 worth of freaking fingerlings in my office right now because it was a bad buy because I went too deep. So you learn the ball game. So if you're new getting into a category, I recommend you pick a category, learn it, get really good at it, if not master it, and then go into a different category and learn and master that one too. Instead of doing like a shotgun approach where it's a wide spread, Go in like a sniper, get in, master that category, and then tag on extra ones too. Does that answer your question, Keela?
It does. Can you provide like a couple examples of grocery products that you would FBA?
Anything. Obviously, you can't do like dairy or meat or anything like that, but anything that is going to be in a box, which, I mean, that's 90% of American grocery foods, right? It's usually boxed up. And here's what I recommend, guys. Like, even if you're restricted, just for practice, if you want to learn grocery, just go into Target or Walmart, choose an aisle, and don't leave that aisle until you scan every single item. And you're going to see different ranks, you're going to see different price points, and you'll learn what is fast selling, what isn't, because it's all about supply and demand, right? Wherever the demand is, that's where you go. So if you see this certain, like for example, I sold a brown rice. You can go buy this at Target. I'm not going to say which one. Here's a challenge for you. I sell brown rice, for example. It's a certain type of brown rice out of Target. That's a bolo just for you guys. So I go to Target and I'll buy this brown rice, and it does 10 times better than the jasmine rice. I don't ask why. I just go where the demand is. But that came from me forcing myself to not leave that aisle until I scan every freaking barcode, as boring as it can be.
I love this. Don't ask why, but trust the market.
Mm-hmm.
So
how many items do you need to buy of one thing, like one toy, or how many rices do you need to buy, or how much investment do you have to do to start? I have a box I've been filling up, but a lot of times I can only get 3 of one product. What's good?
Oh, that's totally fine. There's a lot of times I only buy one product at a time because that's all they have, especially if you're dealing with clearance items. There's nothing wrong with buying one item. You just want to make sure that, here's my rule of thumb. You want to make sure that you have enough for a shipment. And when I first started, my bare minimum was 30 items. So every Friday, my goal was to have 30 items that were ready to go. The fewer items you have that you ship, the more you're going to pay in shipping. The heavier the box, the less it's going to cost. That's the amazing part about Amazon too, guys, is they're partnered with FedEx and UPS, similar to how eBay is partnered up with USPS and FedEx as well. But you get super heavy discounts. I can send in a 50-pound box of stuff, which that's the max weight per box, by the way, is 50 pounds and 25 inches long. So I can send in that 50-pound box for like $12. You get a huge discount shipping via FedEx and UPS. And that's actually not even the cheapest way. If you get down the road, more advanced stuff, and you're shipping in 150 pounds plus, you can put those boxes on a pallet and stretch wrap it and do what's called LTL, which is less than truckload. And you'll actually have freight come out, and that 150 pounds, you can actually pay as low as, I know a $10 million seller who does just wholesale, and his shipments cost him about 3 to 4 cents per pound to ship. That's how cheap you can get the shipping down if you do LTL. That's kind of down the road.
I saw a pallet that was ridiculous. It was like thousands of pounds for $70.
It's insane.
$70.
Yeah. So that's kind of why most of us love to do FBA, because your job is to go hunt. Your job is to source, and you're basically outsourcing the rest of it. It's like in eBay world. If you have a full-time photographer, full-time lister, the market to sell it to is already on eBay. Like it's essentially the same thing as having your own employee. You're just paying Amazon to do all of it too. You can even do, who was it that mentioned they have a wholesaler that ships to Amazon, so they don't even touch the product, right? You can do that kind of stuff too. So it's a really, really good ball game. It's just a lot of learning curves that you have to go through. And that's why people like myself and Chris, that's why we run YouTube channels and social media, because we know what it's like to go through that curve. And if we can just give a few pieces of advice that help you guys get over that a little bit more, then our job is done. That's where we get our reward from.
And I want to tell you guys just a side note real quick. When you get a second source of income going, you just feel so much more comfortable. And I just think that is really where I want. That's why we're doing this, even as an eBay channel, because you're going to learn so much about eBay doing FBA. Like I learned so much about eBay doing Poshmark or Mercari, any of these sites. You learn how that platform does business, and then you can add it to your platform, your main.
Absolutely.
Chaz, I got a quick question as far as rank goes. There used to be, I can't remember who it was, but there was template that you could download like every month, and it would say, okay, these categories, this is the top 1% for, you know, everything, and this is the top 3%, 5%. Where would we get that data from? Is that data even worth it?
So here's my honest take on it. You can't, I actually do not remember there, because there's one guy that puts it out. I don't remember what his name is, but if you just go to Google and type in Amazon sales rank chart, his will be one of the first ones that pops up. So that's part one, is that's how you find it. Do I recommend it? No, because of the simple fact that rank is only one piece of the puzzle. I can tell you guys, anyone who was in our Q4 group, I bought toys that were ranked 800,000, which any normal person would be like, oh, that's a horrible rank, I'm not going to buy that. I sold both units I bought at 800,000 rank within 2 weeks of them checking in. Because if something is high ranked, there's a reason why. So you come in and you try to figure out what's the missing link. For example, I just sold a pair of shoes. I think I posted this on Instagram too. I just sold a pair of shoes for $100. My buy cost was like 28 or something like that. I sold them on Amazon. They were ranked 1 million when I scanned them. Any sane person is like, why would you buy that? And I bought 5 pair. I didn't just buy one. I bought 5 pair. They were $28, right? Like, I can afford it. So I bought those. They were ranked 1 million. I sold 2 of them so far because the missing link was there was no FBA sellers. There was one merchant guy that sold like 2 pair in its lifetime. And it's been up for a couple months. So it sold about 2 pair off of one merchant filled guy. So I'm looking at, well, Prime customers will pay more and they sell faster. I'm just going to buy 5 pair as a test, and I'm going to send them in and see what happens. Sold 2 pair in a week at $100. So rank is only one piece of the equation. There's usually something missing. And if you want to get into that real quick, usually you want to look at, are there merchant sellers, and then I'm going to try and phrase this. Are there more merchant sellers than there are actual FBA sales history? Because FBA guys, I'm telling you, some of your stuff you'll send in FBA, if you're the only seller, you're sold out quick. There's stuff that will sell so fast, it checks in. You'll get an email when your stuff gets there and it checks in. It will check in, you'll click your email, and it will sell so fast it doesn't even register as active on your app. That's how fast Prime customers are buying their stuff. So if there's lack of FBA sellers, I go in on it. I'm a risk taker, so I go in on it. I'm not going to go thousands deep or hundreds deep or anything like that. Just do test buys, right? Same thing with the rice, right? The exact same thing I just talked about. The rice was ranked 200,000. Actually, there was another one. Here's another bolo for you. There's a guacamole. There's a guacamole in Target right now. It's a 2-pack guacamole. This thing was ranked like 250,000 in grocery when I scanned it. And there was only one FBA seller. There was a couple merchant people, but they had it listed at $30. So I'm like, well, maybe the rank is bad because no one's buying it because it's too high price. So I sent mine in and I dropped it down to like 22, and it sold. And guess what? I bought 2. So it was 2-packs, 4 total. And that gets into like prep and bubble wrap and like different conversation. But I sent those in, sold them. And I thought, well, that was a good test buy. It wasn't on sale, so it's a replen. So I went back to Target and I bought 5 2-packs because that's all they had in stock. And then I found out I can go online and order more. So I can order more than 5 if I want to. So I bought those 5, and it took about a month, but they all sold because I came in at a fair price. I was still making a profit, and I wasn't trying to overinflate the price like these guys were, and that's why the rank was bad. So there's all those little things you got to look at. Rank is only one piece of the puzzle. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people, especially when you're new, get caught up on, because there's things like the top 1% sales rank chart. Like, okay, that's great. They're fast moving, but why not go for the 10% because no one else is? And you try to find what's missing. And sometimes it's the listing. Is the photo bad quality? Is it not a pure white background? How's the bullet points on the listing? Is that because you can go in and fix this stuff? You can submit a case to Amazon to have them fix that stuff. So you look at the listing layout, you can look at all these pieces of the puzzle. Because in order for something to sell on Amazon, it's not just the rank, it's not just the price, it's not just the feedback or the reviews, it's not just the listing. It's a combo lock. You've got to have that right combination at the right time with the right customer that comes in and sees it to buy it. It's a combo lock. So it's never just the rank. It's never just the price. You've got to figure out that perfect combo for those listings and for those products to get those to move.
What about I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Does that clear up the whole rank
Yep.
situation? Okay,
I
cool.
appreciate that.
What about reviews? I started to buy a humidifier the other day, which had a great markup on it, but it only had like 2.5 stars, and nobody was carrying it on Amazon itself. There were no FBA. It was only the, people that are shipping out themselves. I can't think of what that's called, but
Okay.
I didn't buy it because it had such poor reviews. What do you do there?
If it's a direct product review, it's just a bad product. I don't touch anything under 3 stars because you're just going to get a customer return. You can sell it and make $100 profit, but if you're getting a customer return, what's the point? And if a customer returns it, you're risking a negative feedback too, not just on the product, but on your profile, just like eBay does. And I'll tell you, feedback on eBay is amazing. Feedback on Amazon, it's like pulling teeth to get someone to leave a review. You're lucky if you get one review out of 1,000 sales.
Well, all right. Thank you.
It's pretty bad. So I personally don't touch anything under 3 stars for that reason.
Chaz, can you sneak in an insert to get people to leave your review in your product somewhere?
I have never messed with that stuff, and they changed their policy on it a little bit. I do not know off the top of my head. I would have to double check on that.
I just worry about trying to get enough. It seems like if you get enough reviews, then you don't have to worry about 1 or 2 bad ones. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Amazon, you can get negative reviews taken off if it's a review relating to the product or a fulfillment by Amazon issue. So it wasn't delivered on time, it was damaged. You can get those removed fairly easily. If it's a review directly about you, like for example, the seller said this was a new condition, or I'm sorry, the seller said this was a used like new condition, but there were a bunch of scratches on it, right? That type of stuff is going to be a review on you as writing your condition. So that one's really tough to get removed. But yeah, you can actually send out emails and request feedback. The one thing Amazon will shut you down quick on, and they got really strict on this last year, is trying to compensate for reviews, because that was a big thing going on. People are trying to give discounts on future purchases just to get a review. They're trying to give gift cards back. So Amazon really hammered down on that. But I would have to just go into Seller Central, and under the top right, under help, just search, insert or feedback or something like that. There's whole tons of articles on there. I haven't looked them up in a while because I personally don't do it.
Yeah, and the other thing that I found when I try to contact my customers on there, even if it's, for product inquiry on their order, they do not respond back. And when I called Seller Central, she said in the drop down box, take the very last reason why you're contacting them. You need more information, I think is the name of it. Mm-hmm. People contact me when I hit that one. So that's just a little trick.
That's a really, really good one. Yeah. I don't know what it is about Amazon customers, man. They do not like to communicate.
No.
Awesome. Do you have any more questions on rank? All right. And if you have no idea what rank is or what the heck I'm talking about, it's totally fine. You'll know what rank is once you get into Amazon. Just start doing it. So with rank, here's the #1 tool you can have in Amazon world, completely free. Keepa. Y'all know what Keepa is? No idea? Keepa is a chart that will show how many sales are happening. And sometimes it glitches and you'll see weird stuff happening, but for the most part, it's pretty darn accurate. So Keepa will show you the history of a product. It will show you, it's basically a graph, and it will show a drop every time there's a sale. So you can look at the lifetime of a product and see exactly how many sales are happening per month. And that helps you make buying decisions. Because if you have a situation where you scan a product and all of a sudden you pop up with this information on your seller's app and you say, oh my gosh, I can make a $30 profit on this item. This is going to be amazing. But when you check Keepa and you see that Amazon usually is in stock at a much lower price, but they're just temporarily out of stock, that's a little iffy because Amazon can come back in stock at any time. So you can look at the history on how long Amazon stays in stock. If it's a product where they are in stock, but it's only for short amount of time, and they have lots of price spikes, that's a better option. So looking at the history of a product is very crucial. So Keepa, you can go keepa.com, and that's KEEPA.com. You can also install the Chrome extension, which I recommend, because when you look at any Amazon listing page, that Chrome extension, it will show the Keepa graph right there on it. So that's a very, very crucial piece to my research I do every day, especially because I do online arbitrage. So I have lists of product that I have virtual assistants send me each morning, and I can click on those links to the Amazon page, and I have Keepa right there ready to go. So I can do my further research on it. So Keepa is going to be your number one tool, your number one thing you can do to really scale your business is learn Keepa. Learn how that thing works. And it's not going to be easy. First, you're going to look at this thing like, what's the pink dot mean? What's the orange? Like, there's all these things. It's practice, guys. Or especially as a fitness coach, right? I get clients who are like, well, I want to get better at push-ups. How do I get better at push-ups? Well, I'm going to get your chest on the ground and get you to push yourself back up, like, and do it again and again and again, right? There's no exercise to get better at push-ups than push-ups, right? So to learn Amazon, you've got to do Amazon. You can't sit back and read about it and research it for your life. Do as much research as you need, but you need to get in and get your feet wet, right? And then I'm trying to think. I've made a little list for you guys. So here's a couple tools, because if you want to be ahead of the curve, and this is a tool that I never talk about publicly too much, but because I'm here and I want to give you guys the best value that I can, instead of just blindly going into any type of retail store and buying clearance products, what if you knew ahead of time what products were actually being clearanced out? And you knew which stores had stock, so you're not wasting your time anymore. So brickseek.com. Chris, are you familiar with this? So brickseek.com, B-R-I-C-K, brick, S-E-E-K.com. They have a free version. Mess around with the free version. This is the one thing I'm like, if you're going to do BrickSeek, just pay the $30 for the extreme membership, the $30 a month, and go in on this thing. I made thousands and thousands of dollars on BrickSeek finds. BrickSeek will show you which stores are clearancing out which products at which price, because not every store clearances out at the same price, right? So I can see which stores carry the most stock and which stores have the lowest price on certain products. And there's a lot of times that you'll see products go through BrickSeek that you can go find before there's even a clearance sticker on them. And if BrickSeek shows it is that price, when you scan that barcode, it will come up at that price. It has been extremely accurate. The one thing that can be a little difficult is the quantity. So if BrickSeek shows you it has 2 units of a toy, and you go in and you try to find that toy and it's not there, you probably got beat out by somebody else. And until the manager goes through their inventory stock and clearances that out to 0, BrickSeek will show 2 still. That's an extremely powerful tool, because again, instead of doing that shotgun approach where you're just doing blind, like widespread shooting, like you get a sniper approach. You know which stores to go into, you know which ones have which stock. And that's been a crucial aspect to our RA business. Chris, what's your experience with it?
I heard it's awesome. Everyone that uses it says they love it. So they said, don't talk about it. So we won't talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't talk about BrickSeek too much. I'm just going to throw out the name for you. You can do your research, look up what you need to look up, and practice with it. But it is crucial. And this is why no one talks about it, because I'm not going to share it with my local people, right? Anyone in the Portland area, I don't want them to have BrickSeek. that's my baby. But you've got, it's a hustle game, right? I can have everyone in my whole area have BrickSeek. I'm going to out hustle them. That's straight up work ethic. So that's why I don't mind talking about it a little bit, because I know no one's going to beat me in my area. I'm going to be I'm one of the ones, like, I'll share a little bit about stuff that no one else wants to talk about. It's kind of just how I roll. So I know that was a lot to cover. And I know a lot of people are especially new. If you haven't sent anything in, it's just gonna be like completely overwhelming. So again, I wanted this to be one of those things because I knew Chris was recording. You can watch again and again because you're gonna take out little chunks of things each time. You don't need to understand all of this, guys. You don't need to understand all of it at once. You just need to understand the basics on how to get started. So if you want something tangible, if you haven't sent out a shipment yet, here's your tangible challenge. Go find 30 products. I'm even going to go as far as say is I don't care if there's profit in them, as long as you're breaking even, as long as you're not losing money. But I want you to send in your first Amazon shipment because you're going to learn more about Amazon by shipping to Amazon than you will on any video, any YouTube channel. Even like I'm a YouTuber and I tell people to just do it. I don't want people watching my videos if they're not going to actually do anything with the information, right? Chris can probably agree with that. We want you guys to use the information. So send in your first shipment just for the sake of learning how to do it, and then you'll get better each time.
We recommend you watch less YouTube usually. Like if you really want to get there, once you start going, just do that for a little bit and come visit us again later. Like we want you to make more money. That's really the whole point.
Absolutely.
So I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Regarding the freight, would that be like a Gaylord size, or what size when you what qualifies for when you get the really good freight discount?
It would be 150 pounds or more.
Oh, I've got that in my inventory.
Yeah, so especially if you're doing books, book people, you can save a lot of money doing this because books are super heavy. It's not hard to fill up a box and make it weigh 50 pounds, which is Amazon's max if you're doing a single box. So you fill up those 50-pound boxes, but then you put them all on a pallet and then you stretch wrap it. And there's a print off system, so you have to print off certain tags throughout Amazon system as you do your shipment, and you'll see that in the back end when you actually do it. But then you click LTL and your shipping cost, man, that thing is so cheap, so cheap.
Okay, I'm going to go for that. Chris, count me in. I put a big box, huge pallet together, my crap here and get my house clean.
So we're getting up to the top of the hour. Thank you so much, Chaz, for taking the time to spend with us. Do you have a few plugs for your channel? Where can people find you? What can they buy from you? Let's all jump in this group.
Yeah, of course, man. So we run Side Hustle Pros on YouTube. If you guys are not familiar with it, we also are Side Hustle Pros on Instagram. I don't have courses. I don't have eBooks. I don't even do one-on-one coaching, but we do have one paid thing that I do publicly promote. And I think there's a lot of value in there. We have a few of our members on this call right now, but we do have a VIP group, which is capped at 200 people at all times. I'm not going to allow more than 200 because I love that small community feel. If you aren't familiar, we actually run FBA Rockstars, which is a 40,000 person FBA group. That's all free. You can get plugged in there if you want to on Facebook. But when you get to that size of a group, it's so large, information becomes diluted. It loses that intimate feel of a small community. So we needed to create something that, one, I was able to provide more value in. Two, it was able to provide the more community feel. That's where VIP group was born. So that one is $20 a month, and we cap it at 200 people. At the moment, we have, I believe, 40 slots left until it's closed out for good. I won't be reopening that for a while because we do a live, just like this, we do a live call every week, cover different topics. Right now, we're actually in an accountability challenge. So I'm holding people accountable to their goals, not just talking about topics each week. So that's a fun part. So the VIP group is really the only thing that we have that's paid that I'm openly promoting.
That's so awesome. And this is the same thing. I have my group is 100 people, and I want to be able to spend more time helping 100 people get there. So like lots of free wide stuff, and then some more intimate, with a smaller group it's hard to help more than that. You know this. There's so many people.
It's the second it got above. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask when the live calls are. I think I might have.
Live calls are Wednesday nights.
Okay.
Yeah, so you probably just missed that one last night. I just posted the recording in there, so go check that out. But Wednesday nights are going to be the accountability calls, and that's usually at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
6 p.m. Okay.
Yeah. Do you sign up on the website or on your?
That one you can go to sidehustleprosvip.com. The one hiccup at the moment of this, the one hiccup, I forgot completely spaced to update my video that I have in there, like that welcome video. So the price has gone from $10 to $20, and we decreased the limit from originally 500 to 200.
Okay, thank
So
you.
that's just a little hiccup in there, but yeah, just sidehustleprosvip.com. You can get enrolled with that.
That's really cheap, Chaz.
I know it is.
Sometimes people say like try to get it, because I like that. I think 200, or I read the study that makes me kind of want to increase this group a little bit, that says that 150 people is probably the best number. 150, 100 to 200, but 150 because you can have enough. It's not so big, but you're also getting the right amount of input. So for people that actually digest, once it gets over 200, there's too much.
Oh yeah, it's like when I first built Rockstars, I mean that thing was thriving until about 5,000, and then it got crazy after that.
I don't know how you do that. I admire that so much, because I started a group, I still have it, the Facebook group, and it grows so fast. You can't even, like, you need admins, and there's such a fire hose of information.
Yeah.
It caused me to delete Facebook off my phone.
Yeah, especially with notifications, the second you open it up, you're like, oh my gosh. But admins, like you said, admins are crucial. Like, we would not be able to do all this without our team. Team is everything, guys. Like, our teams in any business, they don't get enough praise. Because we've got a team of 10 admins within Rockstars that helps makes that whole thing go. And then we've got people in there that have their own like paid stuff that they do. So we have coaches in there that are constantly going live once a week, sharing tons of information, answering questions each day. The team makes the whole thing go around.
And that's the final thing, guys. If you guys ever want to do informational stuff or groups, being a practitioner is good enough. You don't have to be an expert. If you're out there doing it, people want to be with people who do things. So that's, like I'm sure if I wanted to talk about FBA, people would watch it, even if I'm just starting. So be out there, share your journey on Instagram. That's how you grow your following. People will shout you out. Where we are all co-workers at different, it does actually feel like a job. There's like the right amount of drama in the reselling community. There's the right amount of politics. There's managers. There's corporate. It's all in there. Amazon and eBay are our bosses.
Yeah, totally true. Yeah, and you guys, if you're starting social media, like, don't ever feel like you need to have the results before you start producing content. If you go to my channel, look at my very first video, I literally, no fancy equipment. I had my phone. I opened it up, say, hey guys, my name is Chaz. I'm 3 weeks into my Amazon journey, and I just bought a big box of toys. I'm going to open this up alive for you. That was how I started. I just documented my journey. So the number one thing you could do is document.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chaz, thank you so much for your time.
Cool. Thank you guys for having me on here. It's been awesome. I know it was a lot of information. Again, watch this thing as you need to. I just want to give you guys as much as I could within this hour.
I'm going to link Chaz's channel in the description below if you guys are watching on YouTube later. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.